Welcome back, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, to the super, not funny show reviews. And today, Ladi and I are going to be talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, the latest MCU movie. Uh, so, what did we think about it? And should you be watching? Before we get into the review, get down there, hit the like button on this video. Ladi, it's finally here. Phase 5 begins with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. It feels like it's been a long, long time coming. It's the promise of Kang the Conqueror, which is supposed to be the big bad of Phase 5, and we know he's getting an Avengers movie in a couple of years. And we've been told by Feige and other people that this is the one we need to watch this because it's going to start the ball rolling. And there you go. So that's the setup. Kang brings what is it? Scott and Hope, Cassie and Hank and Janet down to the quantum realm. He wants something that can help him, fulfill his plans. He's got a lot of people on his side, but he's got an army of Ant-Mans to try to stop him, or maybe help him. Who knows? We all find that out in the movie. So, anyway, this big pivotal movie full of CG, full of action and surprises and all that stuff. What did we think about it? So, Ladi, you want me to go first? You want to go first?
You go ahead and go first.
Okay. Yeah. So just saw this today, and you know what? I quite like the movie actually. I thought it was. You know what? I was prepared for it to be like terrible, and I have to say, don't know what the hell movie some people were watching because I had a good amount of fun with this movie. Had some great action. Had a couple moments that were like, it wasn't just telling an action movie story. It was actually telling an emotional story. And maybe this is because I'm a dad, that some of the stuff that Scott was going through, especially when it was regarding his daughter Cassie, kind of got to me. There was some, great I'll say this, really great CG, and probably because it's in a fantastical world, so we never expect a lot of like realistic stuff, and a lot of new characters, a lot of great character design, creature design, all that good stuff. Jonathan Majors was pretty amazing as Kang, actually, pretty badass. He showed why he is the big bad of the next phase. And just, I mean, generally, I had good time with this. I mean, I could go into more detail, but I think Jonathan Majors is probably the strongest thing about the whole movie. And I did like Cassie Lang kind of stepping up and everything. And there's just like a lot of nods to, like, if you're a Marvel guy or girl, you know some of the stuff you're singing. It was pretty cool. And also, it had two great post-credit scenes. So just in general, I liked it quite a bit. So, Lottie, what do you think?
Oh yeah, I like the movie. I probably didn't like it as much as you, but I definitely don't see where. Oh, I could see somewhat because I did have some gripes with the movie, but some people are saying the movie was downright bad. Maybe they're just saying that to say that, or they just don't like that type of genre of what the movie, because the movie felt more, in my opinion, it felt more of a Star Wars. Like
Thank you.
it
Oh
didn't.
my God, I was gonna
It's
say that.
not. This is not a. This didn't feel like a superhero movie. It felt more like what is the word I'm trying to use? Like a space
A
adventure, or
space
like
opera.
Odyssey.
Yeah.
Yeah, space opera or Odyssey. It wasn't. It didn't feel like an MCU movie. It had a few of its little tropes, but it felt like I was watching Star Wars guest starring Ant Man, but not in a good way.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I
Right.
mean?
No, I feel you. No, absolutely. But now you did like it. You had a few gripes. Like what stood out to you that was like what made you like the movie? Like what stood out to you that made you like the movie?
Oh, the movie definitely looked good. The movie looked good. Like the CGI was definitely really improved and looked good. The action was probably some of the best action I've seen in an MCU movie in a while. Actually, it's like it, and none of the action felt like bad, rushed, or cheesy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It was actually good action throughout the movie.
Right.
We it wasn't campy. The movie wasn't campy. We stayed on the go, moving to different places, which was very interesting. And like I said, it's just the whole like I said, the whole look of the movie. It felt like Marvel finally. It felt like Moneybags Mickey finally let go of the whip when it came to the CG the VFX artist and finally decided to give them a break.
There was a ton. I mean, this movie's full of It's almost. You know what? It probably has near as much CG as Avatar did. Which is an exaggeration. I'm exaggerating. Don't get on me. But what I mean is that it had a lot of CG to fill in the background because the backgrounds can't be filmed on our planet, right? They
Yes.
just can't. So they had to make a lot of that stuff up. And I'm telling you, I maybe it's just because I knew, hey, we're not on Earth anymore. This is a totally different place. I totally bought that we were in a real place that's just alien to everything we know and understand. And it all looked good. Um, yeah, I don't think I can even point out a bad CG part. I can't think of one. Maybe Modoc, but I almost feel
Yeah.
like they did that to play up his weirdness. The weirdness of Modoc, who we know was Darren whatever, was Yellow Jacket from the first movie. Spoilers, if you didn't figure that out from the trailer. But I mean, even still, when he put his helmet on, he was badass looking. Like there was so many, there's so much work done with character design in this movie that I'm honestly kind of dumbfounded at all the work because they had. I felt like we saw hundreds and I know we didn't, but it felt like there were hundreds of different types of aliens or, different kind of beings down there that weren't just humans, and they all looked really cool and really good. Like Korg level, character design, and I really liked it. And I agree with you about the action. There's some parts, and I guess we should go ahead and get into some spoilers because like it's hard not to talk about the spoilers in here. I mean, the spoiler is that they want Kang is stuck in the quantum realm, and he wants to get his power source for his little multiverse chair or wheelchair, whatever the hell that thing is, and he can't because it got sabotaged by Janet Van Dyne in the when she was still down there. She unintentionally helped him, not knowing that he was this awful conqueror of the multiverse. And then now he wants his power source, but he needs Pym particles to get it back. So that's what Ant-Man is there for, you know. And so there's just all this push to get there. Finding out the history of Kang and what he is and what he's all about, but also seeing Cassie becoming a bit of a superhero, right? She's smart. She's not just smart, she's probably smarter than her dad. More than likely smarter than her dad. And she is like, she definitely is like earning her stripes there. Um, so there's freedom fighters and stuff. Man, it's crazy. There's a lot of stuff happening in this movie. In other words, like a ton. But I didn't feel like it was over full, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
like I didn't feel like they stuffed it too much with things. I think it was just right. Um, what did you think? What did you think about this is a character that stood out to me. That's not a main character. Jin Tora. That was the kind of the leader of the rebels. Cause I freaking loved her.
I liked her. Like I liked her character. It's just there's not enough of of the like of the like here's what I felt like I wish they would have done. I feel like I wish that they would have had a movie in between to do more with that universe, because it feels like they're about to leave this universe and never go back.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? That's the one thing that I'm just like, yeah, I like her. I like her character. It's just we don't know much about her, and probably would not get that much, that I can't get too attached with her, where I'm like, well, as I'm watching the movie, I'm going like, damn, I kind of wish Ant-Man and the Wasp dealt with the with somewhat of this, you know what I
Right,
mean? Like
right.
a small little bit of this, so we could get more of what this is. Because, like I said, I feel like now after this, they're probably never going back.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll probably, unless there's like the Fantastic Four or something. But I mean, in the small amount of time, like I feel like she was basically played as a sci-fi barbarian chieftain, right? Totally
Yes.
badass. I feel like when she was twirling her little staff, I was like, man, are you a Dora? Like, are you one of the Dora? Because man, she was going hard with that damn staff, like, or that spear. She was kicking ass. Just like I love that some of these smaller characters are just. I like them, like the rebels. The little jelly guy. I liked him. You know, the guy that was like a, I don't know what the heck he was. He had that speaker slash laser head. I mean, all of
Hmm.
them. I thought they were really cool, and I liked seeing them on screen and kind of interacting with, with the main squad. That's, I mean, they were just cool. And in addition to that, I feel like there's good character work in this. But believe it or not, probably the only person that I feel like didn't really get good character advancement was probably Hope. But we learned so much about Janet and how she had to survive, and her relationship with Hank, but also I think Scott, he kind of grew a lot for this movie. I think kind of coming to grips with losing time with, and I thought they were going to be like, oh, we're going to give you time back with your daughter, but that's not really what it was about. And I'm glad that they didn't go that way, but really it's him trying to let go of the reins and let Cassie be who she is, but also to remember why he became a hero in the first place. That's good stuff. Um, but you said you had some other things that kind of didn't hit you right. What are you talking about?
So, okay, one of them I understand, but it just the whole time just bothered me, was Janet not mentioning that there's this multi-universal destroyer in the well, let's just not mention this guy. And I'm just like, oh, I mean,
Yeah, it
and
did.
then the part of they had to like pry her teeth to mention it, and I'm just like, oh, like what this is a multi-universe destroyer, and you're just keeping this like you cheated on your husband type thing. Like I'm just like,
Which I thought that was
oh
funny.
yeah,
I thought it was funny they were both like, well, I had needs, and like I had needs too, and they just kind of moved on. I'm like, it's funny, but like, yeah, it's not a
yeah.
thing. Um,
The other thing that I didn't like is that they hyped up Modoc, and then he immediately became a joke. It kind
oh
of
my,
like it kind of made me never take him ever seriously on the screen. Like when the part where he was fighting Cassie. Never did I feel she was in danger, because I'm like, she's fighting the comic relief. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that's where it kind of like it disconnected me from ever feeling like any of those parts where he was like attacking people. I felt nothing, because he immediately was a joke. So
right,
it's just like, I kind of didn't like how they did that. The humor, I feel like, didn't hit me. The humor didn't hit me in this movie. There was parts that I laughed, but majority of the jokes didn't hit me
yeah,
when I was watching this one. It kind of like, okay, I see that was a joke, but I personally didn't
yeah.
find it funny. I'm trying to remember what else.
The what that you were
But
talking about tropes that, yeah, there are no, don't ever doubt this is a Marvel movie, and they're gonna do
Yes.
there are certain things that are just gonna happen. A bunch of people running towards towards a battle, on the battlefield, everyone running yelling. Yeah, that happens. Which I thought they made. I don't know if they intended to make this a joke, but they did to me. It was a joke to me, which was they're like, "Let's go," and I'm like, "You guys are like a mile away from the fucking battlefront. What do you? Why? What? Do y'all not have cars or anything? Get a bike or something, anything.
Yeah.
You all gonna be tired as hell. Cause I'm literally like, this bridge is long as hell, and the fighting's behind buildings and shit. Like, what do you can't do that for that long. But that aside, that I thought that was funny. If I mean, there are certain things that are just going to happen in the world. The bad guys are suddenly going to get the upper hand, and they're going to be doing. And then there's going to be a tide turn. You know.
Yeah, and here's another thing. Uh, that kind of like confused me a little bit. So I felt like they nerfed Kang at the end of the movie.
Oh, I'll explain that. I can explain that. He didn't
I
get
because
he didn't get nerfed. He got his ass whooped. That's what happened. He
it,
literally.
it's just like when we were watching, this man was like destroying when she
Yes.
looked into like his thing. This man was destroying civilizations by himself. And
Well,
I'm like,
I would say probably not by himself. He probably actually had armies. 'Cause remember, he's talking about putting down rebellions. He's not personally doing that. I think
well, yeah.
I think he had armies, just like he was about to bring one back from the quantum realm up to the, regular universe. But no, I can explain. Like, look, it basically remember so one of the things I really loved about this movie, and I noticed it immediately. I'm always kind of on the lookout for Chekhov's gun. The thing that they set up and you sort of forget about. They set up a thing or some kind of some rule, some object, some person early in the movie, and then you forget that they exist, and then later on they come back and they are like actually super important, right? And so the Chekhov's gun here was the ants. And I noticed them immediately because everything in the lab got sucked in, and they like Hank was like, "Oh yeah, they're smart. They're setting their own things up. They're making their own technology, so forth." He got smart ants, right? And as soon as I saw that ant farm had gotten sucked into the quantum realm, and that Scott was he was on it, and it broke open, and all the ants were flying through into. I was like, okay, those ants are coming back later. I was like, I guarantee those ants are going to come back later and be important. And lo and behold, they go through a time ripple and have thousands of years and become super advanced, awesome ass ants. And I was like, well, there you go. They are going to be the tide turner, and they turned the tide, and it was fucking awesome. Like I've never been so happy to see a swarm of ants like roll up on anything. But man, you talk about the Ant-Man and the Wasp and Cassie, they were giving him two. No, they weren't. They were barely bothering Kang, right? Barely
Yeah.
bothering him. And then the ants were like, "Oh, we got technology, and there's a million of us," and they fucked him up. And I was, I was literally everyone like not everyone, but like most people in the audience with me were clapping and banging on the seats and stuff like that, and just cheering because it's so awesome. Loved it. They're the best ants ever in the history of cinema. Fight me.
And also, here's the one thing that it's not really a what's the word I'm trying to use? It's not a really a bad thing or a good thing. I always say this in the movie. It's a how convenient moment.
Hmm.
At the end, when when they finally beat Kang, the daughter reopens a portal somehow, and I'm like,
But
how convenient.
they set that up. What they set that up too. They set it up. Because she has that two-way communicator thing that can locate stuff. Like that she built it specifically to map out the quantum realm. She was able to immediately go back to and pinpoint them because she'd already been there. Like all she had to look for was Pym particles down there. So
It-
it's explained like shit. They literally that's good writing. They put everything in
no, no, I'm
place.
not. I'm not saying it's not, but they made it seem like they're going to be stuck there forever. So I was
I
like,
would have been cool with that, but like, yeah, it was. I thought it was. I thought that was good resolution.
in my opinion, I think I would have liked that they got stuck there.
Yeah,
They got stuck there because I feel like it would do better. But I don't know. Maybe I can't say. But it's just in way I was thinking when Kang Dynasty and all this stuff happens. Hank, Scott, and Hope being there easily, they could, like they become like the new kings and queens of wherever, or they become the presidents or whatever
yeah, yeah.
of that area. They can easily have it that the quantum verse is there to help with Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars and all
Right.
that.
Well, I think that it's a given. I think Kang Dynasty, hopefully, if they're smart, they are going to incorporate the quantum, inhabitants, because they got a beef with him. You know, they got a 30-year-old beef with that dude, or probably 20-year-old beef with that dude. And for our last few things, let's talk about Kang himself, and let's talk about the post credits because it's all related. This guy is a fucking beast, right? Can we agree with that? The way he so casually handled like all of the heroes and the non ants. The ants, they had a leg up because of their technology and shit. But like everybody else, when he went down, he was like, "Fine, I'll do it." It's like, "Fine, I'll do it myself." And he got down there and was just like disintegrating people. I was like, "Yo, this is why this guy is this dude." Like
And
he's a
honestly, he probably would have killed the ants too if Modoc didn't intervene at the end.
Yeah, I mean, they were definitely, yeah, Modoc definitely came in and gave that extra boost, but man, they were swarming his ass, and he literally was doing all his power to keep them off, he would have had to do that for hours and hours on end. Because, ants, when they swarm, they're until you're dead, they're not leaving. Until you're dead or they're dead, they're not leaving you alone. Um, but I thought he was super badass. Um, which leads me to like I was saying, he's better than Thanos. He's stronger than Thanos. I don't know if he's better, but he's definitely more of a threat than Thanos. Like he would,
Yeah,
if he had fought 1-on-1 with Thanos, that wasn't even a fight, like at all. He'd have beat his ass. Like
yeah.
Thanos would have had to have had a few gems in the Infinity Gauntlet, which is telling to me that what's his name, Kang, he doesn't even have an Infinity Gauntlet. He surely knows about it, right? But he doesn't have it because he doesn't fucking need it. Like that's how cool he is. And I love that he was just like, look, he said the same thing more or less that He Who Remains said, right? Which is, look, if you don't want me to deal, you don't want more of me. There's lots more of me. I have a problem with them, and I'm gonna kill them all. But should you rather have me than have them? And then, so that leads us to the post-credit scenes. Lottie,
Do you want?
dude,
Let me say something really quick. I think that Kang was He Who Remains all over again. Do you want me? I think that was He Who Remains, but when he was younger. That's
no,
my
because
theory.
he died. Like, no, I think
Yeah,
I think actually that Kang that we saw is dead. Because according to the other, which we'll get to, there's good reason to believe he's not, that he's dead, right? And he may have been the most dangerous of them all. That's why he was
no, I
exiled.
meant what he would have became He Who Remains. That's what I'm saying. That Kang would have became a new He Who Remains if they didn't stop him.
You know what? You could be onto something because He Who Remains did kill all of his other
And he
variants,
destroyed all the timelines.
and he killed all his variants and destroyed all of their timelines so that they would never come to be, so that only his set of timelines would exist, like
Yeah.
his curated ones. And I like that they incorporated a lot of that stuff from Loki into that. It was it's all very consistent. They have done a lot of good thinking about this, and they're making sure everything is consistent. Um, so let's talk, dude. I can't. We're talking a long time about this, but uh,
Hmm.
the the post credit scenes, the two of them, and they're both directly to do with Kang, which is for the first time in a long time, both post credit scenes are directly related to the one villain. So the first one, of course, being the they did their Rick and Morty thing, right? Which I'm sure Rick and Morty sort of stole this from DC and Marvel, who have both done a sort of I think Marvel did it first with Kang, where he did like the Kang or Kang and a bunch of his variants, whatever, kind of come together to as a power faction.
Hmm.
But to see a literal stadium, who knows is how big, full of various Kangs, it was like watching the Matrix, not Matrix Reloaded, when there was a ton of Agent Smiths, except they're all different in some way or another. And when in fact we see three variants of Kang, two of which I recognize and one that I did not. So I don't know, Lottie, if you you recognized any of those variants.
There's only one King I recognize, and that was the one in this movie, the
Okay,
one with the suit and
yeah.
everything.
So that's the Kang that's called Kang. But two of those are one of them is Immortus, which is one variant of Kang from far in the future, like way far in the future. And then another one of them is Ramatut, who is a variant of Kang who went to the past and basically took over ancient Egypt. So the whole ancient aliens thing. He's
Yeah.
responsible for that. He was a pharaoh. The other one I didn't recognize, so I'm sure I have to look that up. But I'm like, okay, cool. Y'all are doing deep cut Kang lore that regular people won't recognize. They just know, hey, there's a shit ton of Kangs, and they now have recognized, all right, other people are starting to touch the multiverse, and they might try to take this shit from us. So it's time to gear up. It's time to go to war, and like literally thousands, or who knows how many thousands of the most dangerous person in existence teaming up. So shit's going down, yo. That's the Kang Dynasty shit that we're talking about.
Yeah.
The other one was where we saw. Um, well, gosh, I'm trying to remember exactly how it played out. Um, so you had Scott being like, "Oh, did we kill them all?" Right? Or earlier, he was worried about whether I killed them all, but he never thought to himself, where did Kang even get this technology from? And I think that's what the second one was about. Where did Kang originally get the time travel technology? And so we find what I think is probably uh, a teaser for Loki season 2, where we see Loki and Mobius looking at clearly a variant of Kang from the Victorian era, and probably where the time travel first started.
Hmm.
So, and everyone popped off on that too. I don't know, Lottie, how did people react when you saw it?
People were confused when I was in my theater.
Losers.
They were like, they were confused. I mean, I understand it because I know what's gonna happen in the second season. Because I always ask myself, is is there a Kang in the MCU timeline that we know? Does he exist in that timeline, or does he not exist? You know what I mean? Like, where does he come from? And I'm like, okay, this is like back in the day. Like, this is like the 1940s.
No, it's
So
probably it's probably the 1880s or 90s,
yeah,
probably.
it's like back in the day, and I'm like, Kang. And you know what I'm thinking? And I kind of hope that this is not true. I pray that it's not true. I hope they didn't get he didn't get the technology from the TVA. I just hope that's not what it is, because don't do that. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right.
Make it that I'm just Marvel, make it that he got the power from your next big bad villain. Please don't do it. That he got the power that Loki and him and the other guy. I forgot the guy's name.
The
I forgot
Mobius.
the Mobius. When they try to get him, he stole one of the things and
Nope.
escaped into
I,
another time. I hope that's not it.
I don't
I
think it
pray to
is.
God.
I honestly think the Kang that they saw, what they call it, Victor Timely was his name. I
Yeah.
think he's the first one. I think he's the one
Y-
that started it all, and that
Yeah, yeah,
part,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, that this is directly leading into Loki season 2. Why how they figure out how to deal with Kang, in the Kang that runs the TVA. So, gosh, this we ran long on this, but I think that probably indicates something about the movie. I think the movie's quite good actually. I think I told you I put it in. It's number 6 out of the last like 9 movies. So 9 of the post Endgame movie, which isn't a mark against it by any means, because all the ones in front of it are really really good. I think this is more than. In fact, I would say this is better than Ant Man and the Wasp. I think
Oh
this
yeah,
is.
it's
I
definitely
think
better
this
than
is a better movie than
Ant-Man and the
Ant Man
Wasp.
and the Wasp. I don't think it's
Yeah.
better than the first Ant Man, but that's not
No.
because I don't. I think it's because there's a little more humor and a little more heart in the first one. This one is
Yeah.
obviously does have humor and heart and action and everything. It's really fun, but it's also doing legwork for the MCU in general. So that tends to take away a little bit. The movies that do legwork for the MCU itself rather than for just the movie tend to lose a little bit, of itself in order to do that legwork. So, and I'm fine with it. I will absolutely watch this again. It's rewatchable. It's fun. It's got all the stuff that you want from the MCU movie. If you don't like it, I could see some reasons why you wouldn't, but like for me, it's definitely a solid B tier movie. Lottie, how about you?
Same here. I'll put it around B tier, probably like B minus. It's a good entertaining movie to go watch. I
Hmm.
it's a good entertaining movie to go have fun with. Like I said, I just wish the humor was just better. Like
Hmm.
it didn't land with me, so I wasn't like belly aching laughing like I was in the first Ant Man. You know what it is? I think it is. I wish his friends were in here
I hear it.
somehow.
I hear that, and it would make no sense either. For the same reason why, if people are always like, "Where were the Avengers when all this stuff was happening?" Because there's no way they were going to be in this. None.
Oh yeah, in this movie
Yeah.
I completely understand, but I just wish there was like at the end of little. Oh yeah, when I was, I
Yeah.
kind of wish that maybe he clutched,
Luis
that
just
he
showed up.
helped, like old dude helped clutch them out, getting out of the thing. It just like he was trying to deliver like Chinese, and he's like helped get them out, like he helped clutch. Like there was a way they could have incorporated them. You know what I mean? Because it's just that movie needed that at the end.
Yeah. I
The
mean,
little, the
it,
little.
it is it's missing a bit of that charm, but I feel like it tried to make up for it by having the story between the characters, between Hope and Janet, and between Scott and Cassie, being a lot more at the forefront. It's not as funny, but I'm okay with it as long as they bring them back for the next one. That's all. Um, anyway, that's all of our thoughts, our very long thoughts on Ant Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. What did you guys think about this movie? What did you think about what we had to say? And also thank you for making it all the way to this part. Anyway, if you got any thoughts, get down to get down to the
The quantum
get the
comments.
quantum the comment section and leave your thoughts
It's
there.
like yeah, it could dive deep like going into the quantum verse.
Get down to the comment section and leave your thoughts there. Of course, you can always hit us up. Supernotfunnyshow at gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. Do us a favor. Also, get down there, hit like on this video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff helps more people to see reviews like this. All right, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, thanks for joining us. Come back to the channel. We got plenty more reviews in the future. Till then, I've been Mo de Poupe. your resident fabricant and comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend Ladi. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
Peace.